Hey, Clement and Corey here at 296 South Fork. Really nice houses behind you there in the Farms neighborhood. Just past us here is a couple of houses you can tell have just been built as well. House next door, and then the gravel driveway in. I sent you the survey. We got to do some work on that to see exactly what's going on with this piece right here. So I'm going to investigate that on the GIS. But as you can tell, the property lines, well, on the survey it's a little confusing. It shows it about that bush line, and she has put the sign there. So who exactly owns this right here, we need to figure out in front of us here. And if not, make sure there is. The survey appears to show a right-of-way exactly here where I'm standing, but the property line's about the pole there, the power pole, so we're crossing this neighboring property over a right-of-way, it appears, but we need to investigate that further and what exactly the ownership of is of this property we're looking at right here on the left side of the driveway. Apologies for just now getting that info to you on that. She didn't send it to me till I set up the appointment today. She did not have that survey uploaded. So here's the two pretty nice houses next door I was talking about. As you come in, there is some pitch here. I would say from the road to the water, probably 50 feet would be my guess down the hill. A lot of that you're taking out a good 20 feet of it from the 25 feet from the street to where the house would be. So I'll stop here and kind of look back up to show you that. I've probably dropped at least 10 feet, if not 15. A little bit difficult on this left side. You mentioned moving the house over to this side. Hard to see exactly where this property line is on this side. They do have it marked at the water. You can see a pole down there where it's marked. But from here, this sideline, they've got some stuff. Well, you know what? Is that a post as well? Nope, that's just part of that stump, or is it? Yeah, that's just a part of that tree. But it looks like a rough property line is here. Still probably another 15 feet down to the water. If you can see in the yard there, somebody has marked the 50-foot line. So probably when this property was under contract previously, somebody at minimum did some septic inspection, if not attempting to lay out some more lines for additional area. Property does, I need to zoom back out, I'm talking, not looking. I did see a water meter up there at the road. On the initial permitting, they had to make space for a well, but I saw a water meter up there. Water's available out here. Maybe these folks haven't tapped in. That's something else I'll investigate here. But you mentioned what's the distance of these trees. That big tree right there, unfortunately, if those 50-foot markers they've put out here are correct, is just inside this biggest one. Now this thing doesn't look in the best shape, but it is still alive, and this corner is definitely within your 50 foot, especially since there's that corner you see on the overhead right there where the water line comes a little closer to us, so that 50 feet is a little closer right here. Here's what I'm talking about. You can see some flags. To me, this looks like identification of the current system. Looking at that map from 1966, it shows lines roughly in this area. So to me, it looks like somebody came out, identified the location of those lines, and right here looks to be the location of the tank, where a septic company has come out here, dug up, verified that location of the tank, and marked it with those orange flags just off the deck. So it certainly appears your current, well, you know what, even more evidence is right through there. You can see a clean out. So almost certain this is the location of the current tank. And then again, lines there. Now again, Just a regular system, they'll allow you to get within 50 feet of the water. So you've got a good 15, 20 feet there between the current lines and the water. So you should be able to put at least one more line on this side of those lines, especially because you have more room in that direction as well. Pretty flat down here, really. Like I said, maybe 15 feet to the current water level down. Looks like they're about to build one across the street, across the cove, excuse me. Shoreline's all rip-wrapped. I do see a drain coming out there. My assumption it runs within your 10 or 15 foot side buffer there, probably off the main street. I can take a look at that when I'm up there. Let me just give you kind of the 360. So looking at the overhead, it looks like the property line goes all the way over here. So you got a ton of land down here, which is really nice. It's inside the 50 foot, so you can't really build in it. And I didn't see a marker when I walked over here earlier, but somewhere in this corner here is where I would assume it's at, kind of the way the grass is mowed. Big area there that could certainly be cleared out. But as far as the 50 foot, if you're not using that current tank and you're talking about turning the house, you know, you could go all the way over near where my truck is, depending on exactly where that property line is in this direction. So you could certainly change the orientation and stay outside of that 50 foot setback significantly, especially if you're able to go in the front yard and move your septic to there, or even go into this area over here that's not being used whatsoever, just grown up. Obviously that's all available area as well. I know eventually you want a cover dock, but this one looks in pretty good shape. Obviously you're cutting the limbs away from it from this tree here. So I would, you know, probably if it was me, keep as much of this pier as I could, starting about this gangway. You replace that and replace this with your 2-level or covered dock. You mentioned the pontoon. I noticed that moss on the front of it hasn't been maintained really well, obviously, but I'm not really familiar with the Berkshire brand. There's a cut in here. Let me stick our head in. I don't know if you can see anything in there or not. Carpet's worn a little bit, but really the seats look pretty good. Yeah, honestly, inside of it, not too bad. 115 horsepower motor is not bad either. Once you get out here, this cove certainly opens up as you head towards the main channel that direction. Good deep water. I can't see the bottom at all, even with it low. Once you get up here, you see it, but you see it getting deeper and deeper, so plenty of water depth there. Shoreline's nice and rip-wrapped. So what I'll do is I'll see if I can get some more answers here about what exactly kind of markings these are. Again, looks like identification markings to me of the current system. I'll take a look at where that drain is at the street if I can find it, and we'll go from there.